Hey, what is going on everyone? It's me, Mr. Mario, and today I'm going to be bringing you a little bit of a review, so to speak, of the Viper Dual NAND chip created by Element over at themodshop.co. So if you want to grab your own during this video or after this video, feel free to go there. There will be a link down below in the description, and you can purchase one from one of the resellers that is available on the site. Now, full disclosure, right here, the video that you are seeing is the tutorial that I have created for this chip, as well as probably some unboxing footage as well too, and this, as well as a X360 Ace and a Trinity Xbox 360 Slim console, were given to me by Element on the basis that I would then create a tutorial, which you can find down below in the description. So if you see this and you want to do it yourself, there is a full tutorial how to do it start to finish on a Trinity system. So when it comes to the specifications of it, it is, as I said, a dual NAND solution. So what that means is, normally when you take a system and you want to mod it with a JTAG or a reset glitch exploit, that means that you're going to only have a hacked retail NAND on there most of the time, unless you're going out of your way to put a dev NAND on there. What this allows you to do is, once it is installed, it's going to give you the option to flip back and forth between two NANDs, with the optimal results right there, and the optimal setting being on your system itself. You're going to have your regular unmodified retail NAND that is safe for Xbox Live, and then when you flip over to the dual NAND solution, which that means you'll have to hold down the sync button and it will flip over to the Viper itself, you can then boot up into a hacked retail NAND, allowing you to use custom dashboards, modify your games, all that other good stuff that you want to do on a JTAG or reset glitch system. Now, a few things to keep in mind with this as well too. One, at the time of recording this and at the time I installed it, it is only working on Trinity Xbox 360 Slim consoles. From what I understand, there is some Corona development going on right now, but I don't have any more information on that, and there is nothing that I know of right now that has this working on a fat Xbox 360. Not saying it's impossible, but just saying that it is not available right now, so at the moment, only Trinity support is out there. On top of that, you cannot just do a regular reset glitch hack. There's going to be two very important things that you need to keep in mind. One of them is that this board does require you to work in conjunction with the X360 Ace V3 chip. You cannot use a Matrix, you cannot use a Cool Runner, you cannot use an X360 Run or any other similar chip. It has to be an X360 Ace V3, and on top of that, you also have to do a S-RGH, which an S-RGH just means that the physical install is mostly going to be the same, but the timing files are going to be different. And yes, I have talked with Element about it. It is a very important option that you do that, because it has been designed with this in mind. So you cannot just do a regular reset glitch hack and then install this in there, even if you're using the X360 Ace V3. You must do a S-RGH or a Super RGH with the X360 Ace V3 and then install the Viper chip inside of that. And of course, also, it kind of goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways because some people do get a little bit confused by this, you cannot just get this chip. You must reset glitch your system and then get this chip in conjunction with it. So why would you want this chip in the first place? Well, one, because of the convenience factor. That way, as I said, I now have a pretty looking slim system which has a regular NAND which I can get onto Xbox Live safely with and do whatever I want to on there, and it has a hacked modified RGH NAND, and all I have to do is just hold down the sync button for a second, it flips over, and then I can turn it on. I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to swap out systems. It's a nice thing to have. The price as well too is quite cheap at around $20. From what I was seeing, if you are going to buy this, it's $20. It could be less at some other resellers. It might be a little bit more depending on other places, but as I said, when I looked at pricing it out, you can get it for about $16 to $20 depending on where you go. On top of that, combining it with the fact that it uses the X360 Ace V3, which is a glitch chip that is less than $5 available readily, you don't really have to spend that much on here. So compared with something such as the Demon, which I have two Demon RGH dual NAND systems, compared with something that like the Demon where you had to use or it was recommended to use the Team Executor stuff, which was normally more expensive, and the Demon itself was what, $50, $60, $70, $80, something like that, and it was a harder install. This is a much better option, I'm telling you. It's a cleaner install, it's smaller, it's cheaper, and on top of that, you know, with installing it in there, I'm not saying it's an easy install by any means, because this is still kind of something I would say is medium to relatively difficult, but if you could RGH your system successfully, you can install this chip in there just as easily. The hardest part of installing this chip for me, honestly, was probably installing in a different LED, which is recommended. You don't have to, but it is recommended that on the RF board you scratch away a little bit of one of the negative polarities of an LED, and then you solder in a new one, so that way you get the debug light indicator whenever your system is glitching or whenever you flip between NANDs. Now, so far with my tests and using the system, it has been great. I will say though that I have had one issue, and I spoke with Element about it. The issue that I had was at one point after the install, at one point the system was just not booting at all. Like, it was not booting at all. I'm telling you, it was doing absolutely nothing. So what I had to do was, I thought it might have been the wiring, so I actually redid my wiring, redid my points, actually changed some of the wiring, and nothing changed. The thing that actually fixed up the system for me was I had to then go in and reflash the glitch chip itself. So the X360 Ace V3, I ended up reflashing with another timing file, and then after that, everything worked. I ran it by Element, and he said that this is actually a issue that he himself had not run into, but he was running into a few faulty boards with the X360 Ace V3, so it's a little bit of a quality control issue with the glitch chip itself. I'm confident it had nothing to do with the Viper, because as I said, after I reflashed the glitch chip itself, which the Viper does run through, everything worked just fine. So that's a little forewarning to you all out there in case you run into anything like that. Again, my method of fixing that was I just had to reflash the glitch chip, and then everything was working. I don't know why that happened, but that is the only issue I have had. For me, it wasn't as big of an issue, it was kind of an inconvenience, but for other people who don't want to open up their systems, don't have any of the hardware to reflash or do anything else, that could be a major problem to you. But again, that is more an issue with the X360 Ace V3 if you run into a bad one or kind of a iffy one. But outside of that, it has been great. If you want to update the system, if you're on the Xbox 360 side, just like the regular retail side of things, you can connect through Xbox Live and update, or you can just update using a flash drive or burn the system update onto a disk. However method you want to use, you are able to use that. On top of that, if you want to reflash your retail NAND, you just flash it like a regular retail system. You hold down the sync button, it's going to pulse 2 times to go into the Viper NAND, and then at that point you can use Flash 360, Simple 360 Flash Tool, or anything else really that you want to, even Zell. You could use any of those methods to reflash it. You just treat it like another system on there, just normal system. That is maybe the only possible drawback, and I'm saying possible because I'll explain this. The Demon does have a nice feature on it that is advertised where it has an external USB port, and what that means is that you could, in theory, just take your computer, hook it up to that USB port on the back of your console, and then reflash your system NAND and your Demon NAND directly through that. Now, that is not an option on here because there is no USB port that is included. However, that's not an issue, and the reason why I say that is because the Demon, even though it had this feature and advertised it, it was very wonky, very finicky, and hardly ever worked with me. Like, updating NANDs on there was a 1 or 2 hour process because it just barely worked. So it just got to the point I just started, updating both my NANDs through USB, which is what you're going to have to do on here, and that's totally fine. I really don't see much of an issue with that. So when it comes right down to it, assuming you are going to be reset glitch hacking your system itself, because I don't do services and I don't know how much a service like this would cost, assuming you're going to do an RGH modification yourself here, you can do your regular RGH. You're going to buy the programmer, you're going to buy the chip, you're going to do all the wiring and do all the labor yourself. But for another $20 or so, you can go ahead and take it up to a dual NAND system, which is going to increase convenience, but also increase value of the system itself, which at that point, especially with how easy this install was, I would highly recommend it. So I would have nothing but good things to say about this chip right here. The Viper chip is great. I think it's an excellent solution, and it completely blew my mind how easy it was to install, and everything just worked the first time around. You could even watch that video, the tutorial video I did, and I was very impressed at how everything just worked the first time I did it. So if you're looking into a dual NAND solution and you have a Trinity system, I would highly recommend going after the Viper. That's actually the only option I would really recommend at this point. If you're doing a FAT, unfortunately it's not available, so you'd probably have to go with a Demon or something other. And if you have a Corona, I would say wait around and see what's happening, because I think there's some development that's going on with that. But anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you all for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, a like would very much be appreciated. If you absolutely hated it, a dislike is fine as well too. And if you're interested in an unboxing tutorial or getting one of these chips yourself or getting it installed. Links are going to be down below in the description to those videos and to the mod shop site.